From Paris to Polokwane, your city inspires your style, and we love the way you wear it. Joining us for our regular Thursday Skip fashion segment is fashion director Alexis Chaffe Mey, here to chat about what makes our fabulous style unique to where we live. Hi Alexis, welcome back to The Loft.
Good to be here.
Now, I've noticed that every city or country, like its cuisine or language, has its particular dress sense. How does location influence your style?
You know, where we live is actually very influential to how we dress.
Okay.
So climate, culture, the social scene as such of the area, they all influence what we put on in the morning, believe it or not. So areas that are very cold, for example, you know, they're going to encourage a more diverse style of layering, and there's a lot of like sophistication that goes into, you know, kind of layering up those pieces. There's also a lot more distinction between summer and winter. Whereas, you know, in your warmer environments where you've got a moderate climate, there's no need for these layering pieces.
Right.
So they tend to have a more simplistic wardrobe. Of course, it affects the fabrics that you choose to wear. You know, areas that are warmer, you show more skin. It encourages a more body-conscious kind of culture. So the women that are living in areas that are warm and close to the beach, they're definitely going to be hitting the gym more. You know, likewise, it's the same with, you know, business.
That's so true.
Your cities that have booming businesses and big industries, lots of sources of wealth, the residents of those areas are actually going to acquire quite expensive tastes. And even the people in that area that may not have lots of money themselves, they may dress in a style that alludes to the fact that they have some money. Whereas your relaxed seaside towns, they have a very relaxed, very basic wardrobe, you know, regardless of what their actual financial background is, because there's no need for them to dress up. And in terms of social standing, you know, when you get these cities that are very buzzy socially, you know, those residents, they need to have, you know, various different styles, dressing up, dressing down, things to wear to clubs, to bars, to restaurants, to work. They definitely have a more complicated wardrobe, if you like. There's a lot more attention to detail, attention to brands, because the brands that you wear, they show off your social standing. And this we see in the cities that have a very like buzzy social scene. And of course, your culture has a significant influence on how you dress. You know, your regions where you can't show skin, you have to cover up. That's definitely going to dictate what you wear. And also, you know, your cultural background, how you were raised, you may see certain symbolism in various jewelry items or even in certain colors that you want to wear or that you stay away from based on this, you know, notion of what colors mean to your culture.
That is so fascinating.
There's lots that goes into an outfit, believe it or not.
How have South African cities differentiated their style?
So, I mean, we're all part of one country. But if you're visiting Durban or Joburg, each major city does have a completely unique fashion experience in it. You know, for example, Durban is your casual seaside town with a warm climate. So, you know, women there, they're looking for, you know, more basic wardrobe items, lighter fabrics, more easy wearing styles, nothing that's going to be too hot and sticky in that, you know, hot summer that they have. But then you've got that Indian influence, which really has created in Durban this love of color, embellishment, jewelry, vibrancy, exactly. So their wardrobe may be quite basic, but there's definitely this like thriving color that's in there. And then by comparison, Cape Town has a far more dialed down, muted color palette in their wardrobe. They're more into buying those luxury basics. And I think, you know, Cape Town has a lot of international visitors. I think it's rubbed off a little bit, and there's definitely a sense of aspiring to international brands, an international sense of style that is a little bit more relaxed. If Cape Town is your kind of dialed down sense of style, then of course Joburg is the exact opposite.
Exactly.
Joburg is the city of bling. Residents, they want to look rich.
Flash.
Absolutely. And if you don't have it, fake it till you make it, baby. I also think that Johannesburg women and men definitely embrace local designers that use traditional print a lot more. They're definitely a lot more assertive in their African culture. And I think it's fascinating to see that, you know, all these different cities, they also have different retail trends. So Durban, for example, they tend to prefer, you know, your tried and trusted retail brands, whereas Cape Townians, they kind of go for your more international brands that have more, you know, esteem to them, and they also prefer your more hipster kind of local brands, whereas, of course, Johannesburg residents have very diverse shopping habits. So they'll either spend a lot of money on an item or they shop frequently for your trendy bargains.
Let me put you on the spot. What would you say my look is most representative of? Which city?
I would say today, with the navy blues and the denim, which is the simple white sneaker, I would say Cape Town chic today.
Right, I get you.
You definitely have a urban city vibe going on.
Right. Makes sense now. So next week, we'll be meeting some SA designers from all over the country who are collaborating with Skip to create a style that's unique for their cities and inspired by their cities. What are you expecting to see?
You know, I think these collections are going to be amazing. We've got Genevieve Lyons, who's designing for Cape Town. We've got Richard Nisi, award-winning Richard Nisi, designing for Johannesburg. And we've got Sabu Masimang from Durban. And they're all going to be designing collections inspired by and designed for their city. So they really are going to be designed in the spirit of their city, if you like. And to kick off the whole project, Skip kind of called on the help of some very influential bloggers from each city.
Right.
And each of these ladies then led an Insta walk through their city, where they could take all their followers through, you know, the amazing city views that you have, beautiful landmarks, and of course, all the street style that you see in the city. And then all those photos that were snapped away on the day, they went up to Instagram. And then these then created these virtual mood boards that the designers are now drawing from when they are when they're designing these collections, which are inspired for each city. So really, they're using that like virtual mood board, as we say, to create real collections for these real women that live in these cities.
Wow, such amazing creativity going on there.
Such an amazing idea.
Now, African fashion as a whole is exploding on the global scene. Now, what makes our style unique and distinctly African?
I think that African fashion has been a source of inspiration internationally for quite some time. But it's taken us quite a while to catch up in terms of building, you know, our own network and our own industry, so that now we can actually meet the demands of, you know, this global customer that wants an African product.
Right.
I think African fashion is incredibly unique. You know, we wear color so proudly, so boldly.
Yes.
And we're also
loud.
Yeah. And it's about wearing print regardless of the season and regardless of the trend. You know, it's about wearing those prints all year round and clashing them together and wearing them with bright colors. There's really nowhere else on the planet that has such confidence in combining, you know, your color and your print. And I think that, you know, print specifically, you know, we're seeing so many international designers that have been almost knocking off our traditional fabrics.
Right, yes.
And now you have the local designers who've been shying away from using traditional print that are now using it more and more and more.
That is so exciting. And I remember chatting to you earlier and we were speaking about how print fabrics or African fashion doesn't necessarily mean traditional.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about making it modern.
Yes.
And this, I feel, is what's happening in South Africa. Is we, of course, at the bottom of the continent, we've got all these different cultural influences trickling down to the bottom. And we have an African sense of style, but we're also very South African. And it's a blend of culture that, depending whatever city we're living in, that gives it the little tweak. So basically, we're putting our stamp on African style. It's amazing.
Wow, this is so exciting. Thank you so much.
Great. Pleasure to be here. I'll talk fashion all day long.
I know, I can see this. Me too, though. Skip is passionate about sharing fabulous fashion with all of South Africa. So tune in and join us every Thursday on Afternoon Express. And speaking of designers, one designer whose name is on the lips of every South African woman is Tula Cindy. He's coming up after the break, so don't go away.
Express yourself. I'm New Skip. And I love what you're wearing. Use Skip Liquid for beautiful clothes.